Okay, so today we are going to discuss about Indira Gandhi versus Shri Raj Narain. So it's one of the landmark judgment, and it's an important turning point into the Indian constitutional history, or you can say parliamentary history. It's this particular case bring a turning point. So what exactly happened? And let's first understand the different characters of it. First thing, Indira Gandhi, we all know. Uh, she was a prime minister of India, and there is no one I feel like in India who doesn't know who the Indira Gandhi is or was. Another thing is next character into this is Sri Raj Narain. So Raj Narain was a freedom fighter. He was a member of a parliament for a corresponding long period of a time, and he belongs to the Socialist Party. So that's this brief introduction of Raj Narain. So let's understand the story, okay? Because this story is about what resulted us into getting the emergency, okay? And what happened? Like, let's see, 1971. This all started in 1971. Even though you have seen when I started this case, and here also it's being said that this is a case of 1975. But to understand this particular case, it's important to go back a while to 1971. In 1971, in the Lok Sabha election, Congress party wins. This Congress party is the new Congress party which Indira Gandhi has floated when she got expelled from the older Congress party in 1969. So she floated a new Congress party, and this new Congress party which Indira Gandhi was heading uh, win the election by a huge margin. Like, she got around 352 or so votes out of 518 seat. And Indira Gandhi was fighting election from Raebareli. Raebareli is the constituency which is in Uttar Pradesh. But and the nearest neighbor, like nearest opponent to whom she defeated was Raj Narain. So Raj Narain challenged Indira Gandhi's election into the Allahabad High Court by filing an election petition. According to Raj Narain, that the Indira Gandhi won this election by wrong means. So this complete case took time to get decided, and finally, Allahabad High Court, came to a conclusion that on the few grounds, actually the two grounds on which they found Indira Gandhi is using the wrong practices to win this election. So what, and which resulted into the disqualification of Indira Gandhi. So two grounds in a very short, just to explain, to understand that complete the complete picture is, was using the government machinery to set up a stage or loudspeaker. So what was happened that district magistrate of Raebareli or superintendent of police of Raebareli, home secretary of Uttar Pradesh, they were all involved into into setting up the loudspeaker or barricades. So all these things, and the police forces were involved into arranging and making the connection to the election tool. So in a way, she was using this state machinery, which is the government machinery, for their own political gain, which is against the representational people representational act, which set the guidelines around it. And other major ground which become is use of gazetted officer as a election agent. So she was having a gazetted officer into the prime minister secretariat, and she uses him, he was Mr. Kapoor, uses him to deliver speech while he was still at the post which he had in the prime minister secretariat office. So because of these two grounds, Allahabad High Court fined Indira Gandhi guilty of electoral malpractices and disqualified her from holding any public office for 6 years. So it was a big blow for Indira Gandhi, and someone like Indira Gandhi, who is so powerful, getting such type of verdict, being away from the politics, was not acceptable. So she approached Supreme Court uh, to for setting aside this particular order by High Court. but Supreme Court uh, given still given her 6 months of extension, but refused to reinstate her as a member of parliament. And till the time the case is not get completely heard and all those things. But for Indira Gandhi, this is something which is not acceptable. So what Indira Gandhi did is she issued an emergency. So that's the reason of bringing in emergency, and this case law is at the very center of it. And this case law is a case law where the uh, judgment which was given by the High Court was challenged into the Supreme Court. So if you see, it's all about Indira Gandhi versus Shri Raj Narain, 1975. This is the challenging the order which was given by a High Court into the Supreme Court. And here, what happened that when all these things were going on, Indira Gandhi introduces new amendment after putting the emergency. She bring up the new amendment saying that court cannot interfere into the electoral process. So if we talk from the more from the constitutional perspective, so she brought in like 39th constitutional amendment and added article 329A clause 4, which says that election of prime minister and speaker cannot be challenged in any court, and it can only be challenged before the committee formed by parliament itself. So in a way, Indira Gandhi is trying to bring a loophole for herself to be in the power again. But then the question of this question is this particular amendment is got challenged, saying that clause 4 of the 329A, which was added into the constitution, is it right or not? Isn't it a violation of a principle of equality as it's envisioned in the constitution? So these questions which came up in front of the Supreme Court, and when the Supreme Court listening this case held and said and struck down this particular clause. Because reason why Supreme Court struck down this particular clause, that's also very important to understand. That first thing, according to Supreme Court, excluding judicial review is a violation of a basic principle. And other thing is, to maintain a democracy, it's very important to have a free and fair election. If we are not having a free and fair election, we cannot maintain a democracy, and democracy is the basic structure. So both judicial review and the democracy is the part of a basic structure. Hence, this particular clause 4, which was added, was struck down. Then, in this judgment, they extended the complete scope of basic features or basic principle, which is laid down by the Supreme Court in Keshwananda Bharti case, 13th bench judgment. I have created a separate video about Keshwananda Bharti because it's very important to understand what happened in the Keshwananda Bharti and how it established the doctrine of basic structure. So do check out for that video. So in this particular case, Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narain, the Supreme Court added rule of law, democracy, judicial review, and jurisdiction of Supreme Court under Article 32 as a basic structure. So these new and added it and struck down this particular amendment which was made. And as a result of all these things, emergency in India was around 21 months. So from 1975 to 1977, India was under the emergency. It's a dark period when we do not have the freedoms which was guaranteed into the constitution. And when it's over in 1977, Indira Gandhi paid price for it. She lost her election from Raebareli, and Raj Narain won that election by 50,000 votes. So yeah, so it was an interesting case because it's a source, or it's a source which brings the emergency in India.